Salt Lake City, Utah. Here it is. Senior Race for 8 semifinals bonus coverage. My name is Dave Vincent. We appreciate the fact that you are watching this. Live handball feed. John Bike versus Dan the Hand Armijo.
Score is 0, serving 0.
We're all together. Start the match. 1 game to 25. Win by 2. It was a delight to have John Bike ask me for advice on playing Dan Armijo, as I was the one that defeated him in Denver, Colorado just a few weeks back. John said, what was it that you did that got points? And
0, serving 0.
I told him that serving to his right seemed to be effective, and so John started off with the serve to his right.
Point.
That's a first quick point for Dan Armijo.
1, serving 0.
As we welcome in David Fink.
Just briefly this morning, Dave, but thank you.
Well, I know you've got that match at 12 o'clock, so I can see why you wouldn't. You'd have to just get game ready 4 or 5 hours earlier.
Well, I know, Dave, that you follow other sports. And I don't know what you think. Juan Martín Del Potro is doing 2 hours before his match. I don't see him in the booth, though, before the semifinals at Wimbledon. This is our Wimbledon, after all. The players stop.
Side out.
And then Armijo hits that ball into the ground.
0, serving 1.
Well, Juan Martín is not under contract as you are for this live broadcast.
That's true.
It might be a slight difference that he has obligations that he has, and you have obligations that you have.
Serves 1.
And you are also breaking some of those obligations.
Wow.
We're all together at 1 here.
I'm sure I missed a really good match here to kick off the day. I didn't get to see it, but I just know that it would have been a good one.
Well, it lasted 42 minutes.
Set out. One, serving 1.
Much like that Watkins versus Shad meeting last night, this is sort of the same type of feeling here. This one could go either way, Dave.
Well, it could, but out of the 55 times these guys have played, John Bike has won 53, so could see how that could be a coin flip.
Ben John said, as of late, that average isn't as good as it used to be.
I'll tell you, Dave, I had an opportunity to spar with the great John Bike a couple of weeks ago when he was in town. And he is playing some really good handball. I heard John saying yesterday, Dave, that he's cross-training every day, doing cardio work every day. I mean, I think he's dropped about 15 pounds and added a lot of muscle. Armijo's always fit.
What's Bike doing there?
Point.
What is Bike doing there with that shot that he hit right down the middle?
He was going for his stiff arm ceiling shot, but he didn't get underneath it quite enough.
Point.
Armijo last night, Dave, drove me home from that wonderful VIP dinner that we were treated to, and took a lot of pride in retiring John Robles. He says, I'm coming here today to retire John Bike. And he told Watkins, who was also in the car, I want to play you, and I want to take you out of this game, too.
What?
I took Nadi Sr. out. I've taken Robles out. I'm going to take Bike out. I want to take the whole Hesperia Lake crew out.
Point.
And Bike said, look, you beat me tomorrow, I'm done. So you don't have to worry about it. So he'll have 2 of 4 if he wins this match. Actually, 3 of 4. He's got Nadi Sr., so. I think Danny, Dave, surprised you a little bit last night with that dominating performance over Matt McLaughlin, who looked so strong in Denver and just came here and was one and done and looked bad doing it.
6 serving 1.
You know, I'll tell you, Dave, if you're carrying that kind of excess weight and you're not Dave Chapman, you're not going to beat Dan Armijo.
Well, some might say you're wrong on that.
Really?
Point.
Well, I did, and I did, and I do.
I thought that was muscle underneath those 4 layers that you wear at all times.
Nope.
7 serving 1.
And Dave,
Point.
I know you keep these kind of statistics, but I'll just remind you, Dan Armijo yesterday, Dave, scored the final 18 points of that match. Now he scored the first 8 out of 9 points played here today. That means, Dave, that Dan Armijo has scored 26 of the last 27 points in which he's been on the court. Now, if that's not complete domination, I'm not sure what is.
You're going to see a timeout here from John Bike.
All right, John, it's your first timeout.
Has to be just completely frustrated. Dan's not doing anything spectacular here. John's just missing every ball that's going to his right hand.
I mean, what's going on here, Dave? I mean, we've seen 5 skips from John Bike in the last 6 rallies, and these are patented John Bike kill shots. I think John's going for the kill a little bit more than we're used to seeing him do. He's become more of sort of a pass shot, methodical, hop the ball into your body guy, and it seems like he's going for flat rollouts, and he's coming up short. You know, you don't think John would be sore or tight today. I mean, he had a pretty easy win last night, pro win in the senior race for 8. He should be relatively fresh here today. Did not play in the qualifier like he usually does. Maybe he should have. It seems like he plays his best ball in his 8th or 9th match.
That's true.
John Bike this season, Dave, as hard as it is to believe,
right,
watching
gentlemen.
the first 10 points here,
Time's
has
in.
wins over Anthony Celesto, who is an invited 8 pro here,
Yeah.
Abe
Dan is serving.
Montijo,
The
who was
score
the
is
top
9
seed and
serves
quarterfinalist here at this
1.
event.
Chip Morales.
Chip Morales, who was invited for the first 3 stops of the season. And he played Emmett Peugeot pretty close in Houston. I know you remember that.
1 serving 9.
Well, back in Tucson when he lost to Vic Perez, who qualified. Vic was qualified a few times.
Actually, it
Point.
was Vic Perez beating Dan Armijo there, not John Bike. In Tucson.
2 serving 9.
25-23, as a matter of fact. They call me the corrector.
Set out.
and I'm
So
happy to
strange
do
that
it.
John just let that one go there. He knew instantly that Dan was going to put it down, but Dan didn't.
9 serving 2.
But you know, Dave, playing Dan, that his backwall shots just seem to stay down.
I think it's just the way he hits it.
Yeah. Look at that power from Danny there.
Set out. That's good.
And John, fortunate just to flip that ball back, barely makes the front wall.
2 serves 9.
Let's see what John does with the serve here.
I believe, Dave, and you know that your geography as well as anybody, the hand lives about equidistant from you and John Bike.
Point.
Right on that Arizona-California border.
Yep.
About 260 miles from Tucson, probably about another
Maybe
240 to
3 serving 9.
to the desert there in Southern California.
I think he might be a little closer to John.
Okay.
Point.
But pretty close to equidistant.
4 serving 9.
As part of my duties here, Dave, I will ask you if my replacement was here this morning promptly.
Set out.
I don't know who that replacement was.
That would have been Anthony Celesto.
9
Yeah.
serving
Okay.
4.
And I will be evaluating his performance on demand later tonight. Thanks to Linda Manning for uploading those videos so quickly so that I can get to work with my notepad.
4 serves
I'll also be
9.
evaluating you, Dave, as we discussed. I evaluate you at random. Not
Point.
every match, but I select 1 match per day, and you won't know what match that is.
Okay, I call the serve
I've actually
good.
selected that
1
match.
disagrees, 1 agrees. Call That was a point. Score is 5,
So
serving 9.
technically, having given that away, you're off the hook for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I mean,
So, guess I can say and do whatever I want. Oh, and that's a beautiful left-handed kill shot right there. John Bike not happy with himself here.
9 serves, 5.
fitness is a big thing here, David, for small. As
Well,
we
just
see.
Salt Lake in general.
Yeah. It's sort of the Rocky Mountain, Southern California, the Rocky Mountain Hollywood or feel.
10,
people here are
5.
fit, and they take pride in how they look. And they go to extreme measures to keep their looks intact, shall we say. I'll say it. I guess.
So don't say we, because I'm not.
Okay, you're not. Yeah.
Dan Armijo is just putting a number on John Bike here. John's trying different things, though. You can
5.
You can hand him that.
You see John's catching that ball behind him. He's strong enough there to make the kill shot, but
5 serves,
if he
11.
wants to consistently put that ball down off the back wall, Dave, he's going to have to let that ball come out in front of him. You know, Dave, watching the seniors courtside last night is my much better looking replacement, Kevin Price, filled in for me. The only real difference between these seniors and the top guys is that first step, is the retrievability. There's balls that the seniors
6,
can't get to
11.
that the top guys would not only get to, but do something with.
There's another thing that the seniors do. They'll actually talk to you when you sit next to them at the dinner table.
Oh.
So,
yeah.
A little bit more social.
7 serving 11.
John Bike pecking away at this lead, 7-11.
Good shot there from John. Pushes Danny side to side. He's got Danny on the right wall, then the left wall, and he goes back down the right.
Thought we'd see a timeout there from Armijo. John now at 8-11.
Okay, it's Danny's first timeout. The score is 8 serving 11. John is serving.
I'll actually
1 minute.
Write that down.
That's
there.
part of the evaluation. Yeah. Well, going back to what you said about Dan Armijo, he now lives in Yuma, Arizona, and Dan made a funny remark to the group there sitting courtside who just absolutely loved Dan Armijo's wit. Dan came out and said, it's not about the altitude, but it's about the attitude. And he got everybody to laugh on that.
That's a bumper sticker.
Probably is where he got it. But he lives in Yuma, Arizona, and you said about halfway between. Well, you know, you can look at the map here, and you can see it's clearly about halfway between. 240 miles to Arizona, to Tucson, where I live, where you live, and 252 miles to Hesperia.
So you could even say, if you're going from Sabino Canyon, it might even be exactly equidistant.
Yeah.
You're just measuring it from downtown city center.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't do it from my house, but
All right, gentlemen, let's play ball.
I'm going to now.
Mr. Bike is serving. Score is 8 serving 11. Hit your leg, John. All right,
missed an opportunity there. As John gave him a big revolving door setup, Danny didn't adjust
2 serves. Score is 8 serving 11.
Setup as well as he needed to. Oh, John was there. Dave, how often do you see John Bike do that? He's in the perfect position. He just seems to miss these shots barely, and he does it 6 or 7 times a game.
11 serving 8.
Dave, can we officially now announce the 4 invited players to the Senior Race for 8 Players Championship in
12
Seattle?
Serving 8.
I'm not sure if we can or not, but let's try it.
Well, we know that we've got Nadi Alvarado Jr., who's not playing. He'll be playing in the Race for 8. So our #1 seed will be
John Bike.
John Bike. That's right. Matt McLaughlin will be invited to Seattle based on his Denver Finals appearance. Dan Armijo will be invited, Dave, to Seattle based on his semifinal finish in Denver and at least his semifinal finish here. That leaves 1 other player, Dave, and we've got a lot of ties there. I know
Tyler Hamill.
Tyler Hamill just had shoulder surgery, I was informed this morning. He will not be playing.
Set out.
Dave Vincent will not be playing. I think he would have had an invite. So that's going to give Matt McLaughlin, Dan Armijo, John Bike, and
serving 13.
Could it be Andy Shad? Andy Shad will win the tiebreaker for most points scored off Nadi Alvarado Jr. or longest match. Nadi's entire senior race for 8 career didn't combine to last 42 minutes in one match with Andy Shad did.
Short serve.
And that was the biker wave of old right there, Dave. That was a lot of power.
Second serve.
Bike does not want to go into the halftime with a deficit.
And that's frustrating for Danny. And
Why
Danny's got John behind him, and he just lifts that ball instead of just flicking it into the right corner.
I'm surprised John really lobbied for that hinder call. I would have wanted that ball off the back wall, having Armijo pinned to the right.
Score is 9, serving 13.
I don't even think he saw it until it came off the back wall. That's a great serve. And Dave, John hit that serve against me a couple of times, and there's just nothing you can do with it. You have to recognize it as soon as he hits 13. It and know that you can't play it off the back wall.
Wow.
Short serve.
Now he's putting a little bit of...
John actually breaks that ball, I think. And now that would be a technical right there, Dave, if you're examining a ball and then throwing it as hard as you can to try and force a break.
John knows that rule because he's enforced it.
Point.
John Bike said 1.
11, serving 13.
Put his finger up and said 1. That's the first one I've been able to hit the whole match.
Short.
He's tried that little underhand scoop, and he's been unable to do it. He said he
second serve.
Has a scoop shot underhand. It's much more complex than Dave Chapman's, but he said it's also harder and flatter than his.
Shut out.
But if he's missing it, it really can ruin his game. But if he's on, it's deadly.
But how do you know how complex 11. Dave Chapman's is? I mean, would he ever actually talk to you about it?
Well, it's on video.
Wow.
On the instructional video, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a really great example of instant replay, super slow-mo, his hand 13. Hitting the ball. It's on Chapman Experience 2, 19 minutes in. I watch it all the time for
second serve
motivation.
Where on that video is the diving back of the fist, and that's frustrating for John, but the diving back of the fist into the opposite corner shot that you hit about 10 times a match.
Well,
or that you attempt, I should say.
I don't.
You actually have an open hand backhand.
Well, that wasn't on
opposite corner.
I don't get my inspiration for that shot on that.
Okay.
But Armijo serving 13 to 11.
Serving 11. The short.
I have to ask you, Dave.
Second serve.
Who you have in the first men's Race for 8 semifinal day? It's Charlie Shanks, who's ranked #1, taking on Sean Lenning. They've had an interesting rivalry. They haven't played yet this season. Last time they played was at the Nationals. Charlie Shanks won easily. The time before that, it was Sean Lenning just destroying Charlie in Tucson.
14 serving 11.
Both guys look to be in great form.
Well,
coming in today.
It's a difficult one to say. I'm just going to guess and say Charlie Shanks is going to beat Sean today, because I know everybody in this club saw Sean play yesterday against Martin Mulkerns, and everybody is on the Sean Lenning bandwagon, and it's a wagon that I want to be on. Trust me.
You usually are on it. You predicted him to win every race event up until Houston of this year.
Dan Armijo still in this rally.
The only thing, Dave, that might change that is if Sean heard you predict against him.
Right. That's why I got a little quiet there at the end.
Yeah, okay.
Because he was walking by here.
12, serving 14.
Wow, look at that hop.
Green ball.
John's got to hit a better shot than that. If you're not going to put that shot away, Dave, at least you send Danny on his horse, put him on his bike, down the walls. Inside out, down the right wall there would have been a great shot for John. And John nearly hits himself with the ball for the second time in 4 rallies.
I don't understand that serve from John.
What did you think, Dave, in the, oh, a great shot from John. The wide angle corner kill. Ball runs away from Danny, but Dave, the diving re-kill that came right at Vic Perez's opponent's body yesterday 14. That he somehow got out of the way of. I don't know if you were watching that match.
Yeah, I saw that. The crowd liked it too.
Wow.
John Bike does a little feather left hand right corner kill. Now he's tied the score at 14 and 1 point away from a 3-minute mandatory TV timeout.
Well, Danny knew it's about the attitude. 14. Right now, John's got the right attitude. How much does it help, Dave, as a competitor, when you played a guy and you see John now going to the lead at halftime, 15-14 after trailing 10-1.
3 minutes.
But you've played a guy for 30 years and beat him almost every time you played. A 10-1 lead doesn't really seem like anything. I mean, you've played this guy, you've beat him badly, you've come from behind, you've played close matches, and you've almost always won. Has to give you sort of a very settled feeling.
Yeah, certainly. Don't know exactly what's going on in there, but John's certainly playing better now. John Bike said, has anyone ever just retired in the middle of the match when they were winning?
Well,
no injury.
If they did, hypothetically, the senior race freight would be canceled in Seattle. There would not be.
And this is the John Bike Tour, and
yeah,
we'd lose our #1 Seattle seed. He's already made his flight too, so that's going to be a costly retirement.
It's not actually, Dave, a matter of qualifying. It's who can go, and there's only 4 people.
I qualify. I'm in. I have to say no. Do I still get the cash?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Double cash. You've earned it.
We were going to take a break, but apparently we're not going to do that now.
No.
That 3 minutes was going to give me just enough time to go get a Colombian
chocolate-covered muffin, double fudge.
I was going to go with a health shake.
Okay.
Sorry that you have to judge me so much. I guess apparently somebody can't try to go on a diet in a health club without being ridiculed, chastised, apparently. This is the mandatory 3-minute between game break as John Bike has stormed back. He was down big, I believe 8-1.
It was actually 10-1, much like the storm outside, Dave. It's storming inside as John Bike has thundered his way back to the lead here. If you want a golf course, Dave, they call you off the course
in the intermission
for dangerous conditions.
I heard it was raining outside. I haven't seen it. Is it storming pretty bad?
It is, actually. I know you got here at 5:30 a.m. before the rain started.
Well, it was so dark I couldn't see anything.
I would like to thank Dave Nadi Alvarado Jr. for all of the help, the announcing and whatnot that he's done for the WPH here this weekend.
Okay, gentlemen, time is in. Dan Armijo will be serving. The score is 14, serving 15.
Great serve from Danny, but a perfect return from John.
Oh God, how do you miss that?
That was a great return off a nearly perfect serve. Straight down the side wall. Danny threw a nice natural on that to keep it on the wall, and John
15, serving 14.
Flips that ball behind Danny and forces the air. That's what you call a forced air, Dave. Oh, great shot from Danny. One of the best shots of the match. Danny is still one of the best in the world at that shot. The overhead ceiling shot
serves 15.
that comes just barely off the back wall, and Danny finds the bottom board. I'd like to see a Dan Armijo back wall video, Dave. And there it is again, consecutive back wall kill shots from 38 feet. Where's that video?
15, serving 15.
It's a big setup for John, and he skips it in.
Point.
But you see John Dave catching that ball way behind him, also pinned himself so close to the right wall that I don't think he had much of a swing.
15. Short ball. Second serve.
Great shot there from John. Gets him an even bigger setup here. And John, wrong directions, Danny there. Danny going to his left.
And this is going to be a battle. Dave, you know, as an elite pro, you're ranked 3 in this tournament, the number 3 seed. Can you watch one of these
15,
matches, even commentate
16.
on it, and still gather that excitement that you have for playing handball? And or do you say, oh, they just took the wrong shot, these guys don't know what they're doing? Or do you really embrace it?
I don't think these guys take too many of the wrong shots. These guys are almost always playing the right shot. These are guys that I learned from growing up. These are guys that I always looked up to and still look up to.
Can you still learn from even a character like Dan Armijo with the way he places the ball?
You know, Dan Armijo is a professor of this game. A lot of people don't know that. They think he's just in there having a good time. Dan Armijo understands the fundamentals and the strategy and the percentages in handball. And don't think he doesn't.
17, serving 16.
If you ever watch a match, Dave, from the gallery with Dan Armijo, you will see. I'd love to see him get in the booth and open up a little bit.
18.
Well, he's a fan favorite.
16.
Has been for a long time because of the color. It's a tough task to defeat a Dan Armijo.
Well, you know, Danny is a 3-time World Masters champion. So there's really not anyone in his age group that is even in the discussion with him. I mean, you hear talk of maybe a Danny Bell, but you know, Danny backs it up with the hardware. He's got the gold medals.
I believe that Armijo and Danny Bell are the 2 best 50-year-olds on the planet.
19, serving
we saw
16.
how good Danny Bell was in Houston this year.
Well, Danny Bell is an excellent player. And that'll go into the back wall. And you see he fists that into the back wall, Dave.
I hate doing that because it always puts a weird spin on the ball. You have to hit it just right.
And John is really struggling with those huge setups right in the middle of the court in the server's box. He's hit 5 or 6 of those right back at himself, and they've all been replays. Every one of those should have been either pass shots or
that's 2 serves, John.
Down the wall
19,
kills.
Serving 16.
And I know John will look back at this tape and say, "What are you doing, John?" That was an amazing serve from John, Dave.
That was a reverse that John put on that. And this is what we talked about at breakfast this morning. John Bike came up to me and said, "You defeated Dan Armijo in Denver, and I'm being serious now. What did you do to
second serve?
What did you do to defeat him?" And I said, "That serve to the right. I was doing my reverse and my natural hook, just back and forth, and it just got him off balance." And so John started this match by going hard to the right. Here we go.
No, he wasn't. Good call.
Yeah, it bounced in front. It bounced second bounce in front of your feet, or in front of his feet. I'm sorry, Danny. I don't think you had a shot at it. It was down. It bounced in front of his foot when you were still behind him. Second bounce. It's a point.
And now Danny will have a reason to blame the WP.
21, serving 16.
And I can guarantee you, Dave, 8 hours from now, he'll still have his gloves on, and he'll be telling you how at 20-16 he was going on a run.
Side out.
He's tracking a ball down to the right. He was all over it, and the referee doesn't give him the call. Now all of a sudden, John's got 21. He's still in the box.
16.
And how are you going to come back from 21-16? Did I mention he'll still have his gloves on?
Yes.
Okay.
John Bike flat rolls that mouse.
21, serving 16. Side out.
Both these guys trading 2-inch high kill shots here.
John wasn't expecting that. Lost track of the ball because that ball was not down, but John just didn't see it. Great power from John and amazing awareness there from Danny. And Dave, I played John, as I said, a couple of weeks ago, and
tough shot.
He said a couple times audibly, you can't make the easy ones. And that's kind of what's happened here today.
16.
He's made some amazing high difficulty shots, and he's not been able to put away some of the easiest shots. What a great shot there from John. Are you serious, Dave?
Good shot, Danny.
Crowd liked it.
That was absolutely
I mean, even the referee
serving 21.
said nice shot, which is against the WPH rules.
He was fine for it, but he wasn't wrong.
What rule is that again? 34C, I think.
Well, I know it's on between page 160 and 165, so I believe that places us rule 47 or 48.
You know, the problem with that, from a referee standpoint,
21.
it goes under those rules of the line judges, text messaging, and rooting on and making bets against players that they're reffing against. That's all part of that whole.
Well, I actually encourage making bets because it keeps them more interested in the match. So it heightens your concentration. So I recommend betting.
That's funny. Nice get right there from John Bike.
Oh, and Danny will rue that missed shot, as now this match is starting to get away from him, Dave.
22 serves 16.
Don't forget, Dave, John Bike was down 10-1. He's now scored 20 of the last 26 points. He's outscored Danny 20-6 after being outscored 10-1.
Two serves. Scores 22, serving 16.
You see John saying, is that going to be a replay?
John stuck the needle in there.
Yeah, that was
just a little bit.
Second serve.
John's way of saying that one from before. Dan didn't find it very funny. It's no surprise that John Bike is a great handball player. He's so smart, and you have to be smart to be a good handball player.
16 serves 22.
John Bike's one of the smartest people you and I have ever met.
I can't believe it. I think he's a savant level.
I also believe Sean Linning's probably up there in that pure intelligence, I call it.
22 serves 16. Short serve. Second serve.
Would you also put your substitute broadcast partner, the Throb, in that department, Dave?
No, he's on the other list.
Okay. There's a lot of lists, actually. I know.
You're learning.
Yeah, I don't know how many. Well, I'm actually writing a lot of them, too. I don't know how much of those lists we can share with
23
the 7
serving
people
16.
watching here and the 18 people watching 2 months from now. We want to thank them for tuning in.
Let's try a point. .24 serving 16.
This is game and match point.
Hey, this match was so close that I didn't start etching until about 30 seconds ago. I know you were etching about 10 minutes ago, so you had a feeling. Good shot from John.
Side out.
Inside out, down the left wall. That's a tough one because you have to thread the needle a little bit.
24 serving 16.
Well, that was one of the rare instances that Danny hit the wrong
Foot
shot.
Foul, John. His foot was.
Look at Dan Armijo. I finally get a huge setup, and you're going to.
First time ever on a setup.
Don't call it.
I agree with Dan. It's
Second
frustrating.
serve.
It is a huge setup off the back wall, and it's stopped because of a foot fault, which is just a horrible thing anyway. John Bike.
But if you're
nice
the
call,
server
Danny.
hits an ace, then they call a foot fault. Are you upset then as well?
John Bike now advances here to the finals once again at this senior championship, as he has never been there. Actually, I said once again, but he advances once again. And now he will be in the finals. I hope I worded that correctly. We'll have another great match coming up right around the corner. 11 o'clock this morning, Charlie Shanks versus Sean Lenning. For Dave Fink, my name is Dave Vincent. Stick around, about 30 minutes, maybe 25 minutes or so. We'll be back with more Race for 8 action here. Stick around.
Here we go. We're gonna make some juice.
It's gonna be good.
She's excited. A little bit of kale.
Please don't put this on
I'm putting it all over the line.
It's wet. It needs something. No, it'll go.
Don't break my juicer. Looks good.
You ready to try it?
Come on, baby.
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
It's okay.
Okay, all
They
right.
might surprise you.
She took another sip. You saw it?
Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
Working and working out takes a lot of energy. That's why I drink Zenergy. Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.
Rethink what you know about this Vegas icon. Elevate your expectations at the Stratosphere Hotel, Casino, and Tower. See what's new, up, down, and all around.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's one every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.